This is a review of the Cen Tec Systems Quick Click Separator. This is a dust collector particulate separator. The idea is you hook your vacuum up to this and everything you suck up, the larger stuff is supposed to go into whatever container you hook this thing up to. This is the larger sized one, and 2¼ 2½ inch hose, the larger shop vac size. Unfortunately, all of the footage I had making this thing, a couple time lapses, the first tests, a couple errors we came up with, that's all gone. I bought this thing because I needed to do a ton of vacuuming at a demo site that we had. Unfortunately, that was a commercial site. They didn't want us filming on site and all that good stuff. We're back in the shop because I didn't have any Allen keys with me. And I would like to take this thing apart to show you a fault that I believe needs to be addressed. This is definitely being returned. Like I said before, we were in a commercial space, and this is an old building, so it had lath and plaster, it had drywall, it had regular insulation, it had concrete, and most importantly, it had blown-in insulation, that old, nasty looking gray black stuff from like the late 70s. And it's all clumpy. And that stuff was everywhere. And as you're doing demo and you're making a mess and everything's falling out, that stuff was just floating. Like, we had literal feet of it. And if you're trying to get it out into a dumpster, it just makes a mess and it's mixed in with everything else. So as you're scooping stuff up, you're trying to put it in bags, but the bag's not working out well because you're mixing in concrete and drywall chunks along with everything else. So I thought, hey, I'll get one of these fancy dust collectors. We'll put it onto a barrel. That way, when the barrel fills up, we can just dump it into a bag or directly into the dumpster. Get a nice long hose. We can suck all this up as we go. I know the barrel worked. We had to put a silicone ring on the inside because obviously if you start pulling on a vacuum and it's pulling from the bottom of this, you're not going to get anything to go down if you're pulling air up. That was what some of our first tests showed, but the silicone worked. That lid was definitely on there. If you plugged the vacuum, it would suck the can right into the full extent of the vacuum's capability. Everything was great. It worked well in the wood shop for the test that I did just using sawdust. In general, when we got there, we took the filter right off the vacuum and just let it run. And you could see dust coming out. It was very fine. You're not going to be able to just take a filter off of a vacuum and expect this to collect even the tiniest little everything. I didn't think it'd do that. That's not why I bought it. I wasn't trying to get every little speck of dust to go into the barrel. I know that's not what they do. You definitely still need a filter on your vacuum. Hopefully this comes apart and doesn't get damaged. So this is it. So your vacuum hose hooks on here, suction goes this way, and then you hook the hose that you are using to pull everything else up onto this one. So in theory, the dust comes in, circulates around, and goes down out the bottom of this. Be a nice funnel if they don't take this back. So the issue that I have with this is that when you put this thing in here and you look down there, see the gap that's there? See how that ball won't fit through there? The gap that they've got between this white, I don't know what you want to call it, when you put this together, that ball does not go by there. That ball fits in here. Now, I'm not saying I'm sucking up golf balls. I get it. I'm just demonstrating that a piece of debris that fits in the hose will not pass through this thing. So if I put this ball in here, it won't come out the bottom. Terrible. I think all they did is they have another one of these that uses the smaller size hose. I'm sure it works great for that one. All they did was make this bigger. So all the clumps of that insulation that I wanted to suck up and get rid of, they're coming through this hose, just wads of it. I know that there's no way they were passing through there. They couldn't fit between that gap. So what they did instead is just went right up into the vacuum. All I did was spend $45 and a couple hours making a separator that would just pretty much divert right back into my vacuum anyway. So, yeah, Cen Tec Systems, you seem to have great quality stuff. It's robust. The plastic was great. It tipped over a couple times. We had no issues with anything with the build. I have issues with your design. That is a gross overlook in my opinion. So, yeah, if you're going to use this thing in your shop sucking up sawdust, it's probably going to be okay. If you're doing anything that has any size to it, it will not fit past that. I'm going to try and get a measurement of that. So I can fit this 3/4 inch socket in that gap. And that is just over an inch. Or an inch and 20 thousandths. So you have a 1 20 thousandths gap in there. So anything larger than that, don't look at the size of the socket, just the diameter of it. Anything larger than about 1/4 will not pass through this thing into the collection bin. It'll get sucked up and go right into your vacuum. Incredibly disappointing. That's embarrassing. Hopefully that saves at least one of you from buying this thing and being disappointed. So if you know a better one, please let me know.